Hello everyone, Equipment here, and welcome to my build guide for my high block chance crit blade flurry build. I'm going to start by taking a look at my passive skill tree, then my items, and then my skill gems. If you have any questions about any of that, feel free to ask me in the comments. So let's get started. In my passive skill tree, I'm going to take my ascendancy class first. I ascended to a gladiator for the blocks chance specifically. That is my main protection of this build. And first I went for Painforged. After that I went for Versatile Combatant, then I went for Violent Retaliation, and then I have Blood in the Eye for some extra damage here and there. For my actual skill tree, I start by taking the attack speed in the beginning and the physical damage in the beginning. Then I went down, take Evasion and Life here. I went for Master of the Arena, Bravery, and Art of the Gladiator. Before I went over to this way, I went this way, took Defiance. Went all the way down here, took Gone's Blood. I have a Yule Socket here with attack speed, melee physical damage, and global physical damage. This could be better. I could have life on this one. So if you're gonna get an Yule like this, try to have one with life as well. I have Cloak and Chain, and then I went for Testudo and Retaliation. And I also went for Iron Reflexes, which convert all of my evasion into armor instead, and I went for Vitality Void. And here a quite important note: this node here is my source of mana for this build. But in early game it is a good idea to take both this node here and this Mana Leech node here, and even Spirit Void. And when you have enough damage you can just drop both Spirit Void and this one and just have this node here. It will cover all of your mana needs. Moving on. I went for Command of Steel, a good note to give you physical damage when holding a shield, also increase your block chance, increase the defense of your shield, which is quite nice. Moving this way here, I went for Fitness, and if you need some more life and survivability in this build, you have an option to take Evasion and Life here if you want to drop some damage in favor of survivability. I have a Persistent into whatever this one is called. It's just a good note, giving me some physical damage when holding a shield, and also increases my block chance when having a shield, and also increases the defense for my shield. I have Weapon Hour Sorcery, and I have Aspect of the Lynx. I have a Herbalism, and I went for both Brutal Blade and Fatal Blade, which give me a good boost to my damage. Let's move on to the other side of the tree. I went up here. I went to the Marauder area. I took Warrior's Blood, Heart of Warrior, and Born to Fight. I have Solidarity for even more block chance and damage with shields. And I have Unwavering Stance, so I can't evade attacks, but I can't get stunned, which is really important in this build. I have Juggernaut. Here you can take another Yule Socket there if you want one. I have Barbarism. Then I have Disembowering for a good boost to my crit chance, and also the other crit nodes here. And finally, I went up here. I have another Yule Socket here. Again, attack speed, melee physical damage, a chance to block, and also increase physical damage with the one-handed melee weapons. Some life would be nice on it. And I went up to the big life wheel here and took all of that. So that's pretty much my passive skill tree. If you have any questions about it, please let me know. Oh, and one thing before I forget. You can, if you want, take Val Pact if you want even more life leech. And before I forget it, when it comes to the bandits, I helped Oak to get the physical protection, physical damage, and life generation. The other option is to kill all of them and take the passive skill point, but I helped Oak. So let's take a look at my items. So let's start by talking about my weapon. I'm currently using this sword right here. And when you want for weapon, you want as good as you can get the physical damage, critical strike chance, and attack speed. A good and cheap alternative to a weapon like this is to use Skeva. You can see it on screen right now. It have a lot of physical damage and some decent crit chance. It's overall a quite nice weapon. For my helmet, I'm using a Byssus, so I need to be a little bit careful against physical damage. This particular Byssus I have right here is a legacy version, which means you can't get it in the league, but you can still get a helmet like this in the standard league, but it can be relatively expensive. What makes this to a legacy one, it have over 200 to melee critical strike multiplier, when the new one, you can see it on screen as well now, have only, I think it was 220. And a very important thing when it comes to abuses, do not use abuses if you are in the labyrinth on dealing with physical damage traps. They do a ton of extra damage to you because of abuses. So always just replace abuses when you're inside the labyrinth and go into traps with another helmet, and then just switch back to abuses when you're fighting bosses, for example. For my shield, I'm using this one I can't even pronounce. This shield was a very inexpensive shield, but it has become quite expensive now. You can see on the screen some alternative. But what makes this shield to the best shield for this build, it is the effect that your hits can't be evaded. So if you're having this shield, you do not need any accuracy whatsoever. The shield also have quite nice block chance and adds a lot of cold damage to your counter attacks, which is always nice. But this is a relatively expensive shield nowadays, but as you can see on screen, there are some alternatives. For my rings and amulets, again, the most important thing are life and resistance. And if you can, for example for this amulet here, try to get some damage there. Same thing are with both of my amulets, my rings as well. Life and resistance, the most important. And if you can, some damage. For my gloves, I'm currently using these spiked gloves here, which give me both attack speed, melee damage, and a little bit of chance to block, because all chance to blocks are nice. It also has some life. When it comes to gloves, you can, if you want to go more offensive, you can use Malagara's Virtue, you can see it on screen right now, which will give you a good boost to your damage, in cost of some defense and some life. For my belt, I'm using this rustic stash belt here. And when it comes to your belt, you want as good as you can get life, resistance, and armor if you can. And also if you can, try to have some damage there if you can afford it. Like this one have increased elemental damage with attacks and global physical damage. I almost forgot to mention my body armor. I'm currently using this astral plate here. And the most important thing you want on your armor, you want as high as you can get armor value, life, and resistance. A good, unique alternative to armor like this, it is Belly of the Beast. You can see it on screen right now. It have a lot of life, some resistance, and some decent armor. For my boots, again, defensive stats, movement speed as well is quite nice as well. But it is life and resistance, and as I said before, movement speed. When it comes to my flask, always, when you have abuses on you, always carry an anti-bleeding flask. It is very important when you have abuses on you, because you take a lot of damage from bleed. And I have this increased recovery speed flask. I have a serious promise, not a must-have, but quite nice flask. I have Rumus concoction just to be a little bit ridiculous when it comes to my block chance, which is already very high, but you can always have higher. At least you hit the cap on 78%, I think it is right now in this character. And Lion's Roar, which is not a must-have, but is a real powerful flask. And that's pretty much my character, so if you have any questions about my gear, feel free to ask me in the comments. And so, let's take a look at my skill games. So let's start with Blade Flurry. Blade Flurry are supported by elemental damage with attacks, added fire damage, melee physical damage, increased critical strikes, and physical to lightning. If you only have a 5-linked setup, just take away added fire damage and use Blade Flurry, elemental damage, melee physical damage, increased critical strikes, and added physical to lightning. For my movement skill, I'm using two movement skills. I'm using both Whirling Blade to evade attack and movement. And I'm using Leap Slam to jump over obstacles and also for some movement. And they are both supported by blood magic, so I use my life instead of mana, so I don't run out of mana by using them. And Fortify support, to get some extra protection when I jump in or attacking some enemies with, for example, Whirling Blades and Leaf Slam. I'm using two auras. I'm using Herald of Ash and Hatred. I'm using some counterattacks, which is both Reckoning, Riposte, and they are both supported by melee physical damage and they actually do quite a bit of damage. I also have another one which is Vengeance, and Vengeance are supported by increased critical strikes. Using 2 cost on damage taken setup, which is first one, cost on a level 4 cost on damage taken, together with the Immortal Call and increased duration, for some extra chance to block some physical damage. And I also have another one which are level 1, and it is linked with the Warlord's Mark, level 1, and Tempest Shield for some extra block chance. And that's pretty much my skill game. If you have any questions about my skill game, please let me know.